At some point in the 17th century, Japan paused, took a deep breath, and declared forward toward empire. It was then that the shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu, guided by a set of carefully crafted and quietly mysterious laws, chose to seal Japan off from the outside world, not because of disease, but because he believed that one more foreign face on the street might be enough to unravel the empire itself. The result: a nation entering a self-imposed quarantine that would last for centuries, self-sufficient, detached from the world, and perhaps detached from common sense. This masterstroke by the shogun had consequences. The samurai, once living comfortably on the wealth of their feudal lords, suddenly realized that their support had vanished and their way of life could no longer be sustained. Nearly 500,000 samurai were turned overnight into ronin, warriors without masters, armed with nothing but a sword and a decaying sense of honor. Japanese society began to resemble a city flooded with an idle army, warriors roaming the streets, unsure what to do with their anger. But the Japanese possess a rare talent: the ability to turn catastrophe into a system. The ronin drifted into gambling, trading swords for dice, aligning themselves with wandering gamblers and drifters. And the result? The emergence of a hybrid creature, violence in its genes, cunning in its DNA, born at the gambling table, the kabukimono. Strange figures in theatrical clothing, carrying blades polished to a blinding shine. Gambling in that era of Japan was anything but simple. We're talking about a time when nearly every Japanese, samurai or commoner, carried a blade at their side. Losing was rarely met with grace. So order entered the game. Some kabukimono became deadly arbiters. Others took ownership of the tables themselves. When two men chose swords over dice, it was the kabukimono judge who spilled their blood directly onto the table. The money of the dead was then divided, split between the judge and the table owner. Capitalism in its blood-soaked form. This ruthless, transparent structure gave birth to something new, the Yakuza. Not a gang, not a crew, but a profession. A union forged from card games and pain. And what does Yakuza mean? It comes from the worst possible hand in a Japanese card game called Oicho Kabu. Yakuza. 893. Their total is 20. 0 points. The most worthless hand you can hold. Choosing that name was a message in itself. We rose from the trash and we came to own the table. The Yakuza placed gambling at the front of the line, but that was only the beginning. Their enterprise grew like a gorilla pumped full of steroids, from prostitution to human trafficking, from weapons to threats, legal or otherwise. What set them apart from other criminals wasn't brutality, it was discipline. Yakuza were obsessively organized. Make a mistake? You cut off your little finger. The ritual was called yubitsune. Repeat the offense, and the next step was a dagger and a public ceremonial suicide. That ritual was known as harakiri. Religion? No. Politics? Not that either. This was a sect, dressed in the posture of rage, but polished, controlled, almost elegant. Their tattoos, irizumi, weren't decoration. They were carved into the skin so physical pain could become a lesson in obedience. Women? They had no place in this system. There was only one place where a Yakuza was required to tell the truth, in front of his boss. Anywhere else, lying was considered an art form. Like any empire, the Yakuza eventually branched out. The Yamaguchi-gumi, a 10,000-strong army led by Kazuo Taioka, a man who believed that a modern samurai should have everything except a conscience. In this faction, honesty was considered a weakness. Another group, the Sumiyoshi Kai, led by an 82-year-old patriarch, Kenichi Shinoda. These men turned money laundering into a fine art. Kenichi Shinoda would take the money earned from crime, buy real estate offices with it, then walk into court and say, "Your Honor, we only sell houses." And he was telling the truth, because no one dared to say Kenichi is lying. These operations were carried out as easily as drinking water. Even today, when the people of Japan claim the Yakuza are gone, whispers persist that they still operate in the shadows. The media says the Yakuza have long decayed. Take that as just another media cliche, because according to many, the samurai still breathe. And not just anywhere, they move across economic, cultural, governmental, and even political spheres. The Yakuza didn't seek revenge for the samurai. They simply finished the half-written story of history. They didn't take up swords to save their country. They took them to spill blood with strategy, patience, and control. Yes, friends, this is the philosophy of the Yakuza.